Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm just saying the three of us are here again. This is our second, third, second. This is our second. We got misplaced last week unintentionally, some health concerns that we're continuing to pray about with one of our amigos here on the line with us. But we wanted to talk this evening and get back into some things. Remember that everything is political. And the word tonight that we want to use is what's your apprehension? What's your apprehension? And we will speak a little bit more about that as it relates to the browning of America. I'm just saying, coming at you. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's us. It's us. It's us. I think it's us. Is it us?
Yeah, we back.
Okay. So in class, in class last Thursday, I had my college students answer a question as it relates to not necessarily racism, but definitely race as it relates to the ethnicities. If you've been watching television lately, a lot of the commercials are having mixed couples, not just all Black couples. You're having Black father, Caucasian mother, Caucasian father, Black mother. And it's, I'm believing, and I want you all to help me with this, is it becoming this issue, or is it being promoted that we are this melting pot in the United States of America? There's a lot of things. Just last week, we looked at the floatable tubes out in Texas as far as not letting immigrants into the country. And my question to my students last week was, with the browning of America, why is there so much apprehension as it relates to the ethnicities coming together? Because remember, we are the land of the free, and this opportunistic society, where this opportunistic country, everybody can come here. People come to the United States any way they can. There have been derogatory terms as far as people south of Florida coming here, calling somebody a wetback. That means they were on a boat or swam over here and their backs were wet. Very derogatory term. But what is the apprehension, and why is it such a problem, or becoming a problem, with the minority losing its hold on being the majority? I'm gonna throw that question to you all. Why is the minority feeling a little challenged? This also talks about race theory, all of those things. What's happening? Our books are being taken off shelves. What is the apprehension? I may could start. Steve was almost calling you Stephen A. Sandra, I want to hear from you first. Bruce, go third on this one. I just want to hear if you can. Drew, tell us your thoughts on this.
Let's go with the obvious reason. The minority has wielded power that they've taken, and through smoke and mirrors, they never really had the numbers to be the majority or to be the power structure. But now that the numbers are drastically swaying against them, there you have the browning of America moving in businesses and in power places where they're making decisions, where they're in charge of money decisions and political decisions. And they're losing their stronghold because their base has always been the whites. And typically the Browns didn't vote or didn't take a real stand in politics, and really let our voices be determined by the colonizers. And now that that's no longer being the case, where this the browning of America is starting to show its we're starting to grab a hold of our power in this country, and they can't deal with it. Like the whole race mixed race thing, like this country was a melting pot. That was a lie. That's just a slogan we put on things to make us feel good, look good to other people. This has never been a country where land of the free and home of the brave. When the backs of this country was built off slaves who were never free. So how is this the land of the free and home of the brave? That's just my take.
Hmm. Stay with me. I'm gonna argue with you on that before you come, Bruce. If I'm apprehensive about this as a European Caucasian man or woman, if I have the power and I have the power structure and the supremacy, I'm not going to put that word there yet, Bruce. It can happen. I don't want to put the first W word that you're familiar with. I don't want to put that there yet. But if I have this supremacist power, what's my issue? I got y'all. I don't care how many of y'all, how many uh, people of color that come into this country, I still control. So I shouldn't have, as many as you all want to come in here, I still
But
control it. Hmm.
but we're starting to change the mindset of the young white Americans, where they're starting to look at their parents and their parents' ideologies a little different because they now have brown friends.
Hmm.
They're now
Hmm.
sitting at the table and listening to conversations with those people who have been oppressed, and they're starting to look like, wait a minute, maybe the way I've been living hasn't been right. And once you start getting the voices of the children, now that message, that supremacy can't spread from the to the next generations. It's starting to water down or even
Mm,
even
mm,
evaporate. So now
whoa.
their stronghold on their own people is starting to loosen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bruce, let's hear from you. I was reading this week about what the poor white resident or citizen was and how they were being treated by the minority power structure as well. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on my question and that second question there?
Um,
The browning of America.
yeah, the browning of America is happening, and um, it's not new. It's old. Um, I think uh, whiteness or the white power structure was always um, leery of more brown people. I mean, I mean, in high school, you learned about, the 3/5 of a man clause that's in the Constitution.
Mhm.
That's not the beginning of this country. That wasn't done for no reason. At the time, there were a lot of slaves. There were a lot of slaves, and it was 3/5. That number was calculated so that um, the South could have the power of the black body without having it vote,
Uh-huh. Uh,
if that makes sense.
yeah. Power of
Uh,
the black body,
yes,
the physical,
yeah,
or the third of it
yes.
of the body. Mhm.
They wanted to have that much. They wanted black people to count towards their population, which would give them senators and congressmen and that kind of stuff. But they didn't want us to vote. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's always been this game. It's always been this game. This game has not changed. It's the same game. And this is what I
Mhm.
really, um, the game is the same. The game hasn't changed, but the game is more nuanced now.
Mhm.
For instance, we just saw last week how the Supreme Court came down and told Alabama that they had to make another minority black district. because they had gerrymandered it so that white people controlled all the districts but one, even though the population of blacks is increasing in Alabama, has increased
Sure.
since the last census.
Is Browning, if you
Like
will.
I said, that's what we're saying. It's Browning. So the Supreme Court sends that down and says y'all have to add, basically subtract a white district and make it a minority district, so that because of the population change, people should have more say in their government. The Alabama guys said, nah, we ain't doing it. Even the Supreme Court said you have to do it. They refused to do it. They're not going to do it. And part of the reason why they're not going to do it, I just saw this like right before we came on.
Sure.
On Joy Reid's show. She says that the reason why they're not doing it is because they want to take it back to the Supreme Court on appeal and stuff, because people are going to say, no, you have to make this district. No, we don't. And then they're going to sue, and then it's going to go back to the Supreme Court. Because they want the Supreme Court to strike down Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act is supposed to allow for Black people more equity as far as it's concerned with voting. So they want to strike down that so that they don't have to add another district, so that they can keep their majorities, even though they would still have a majority. They don't want Black people to gain any advantage.
Here's the
same game.
Okay.
Just
game. Got it. Let me ask this. Drew, come to me on this, please, if you will. So you're telling me, and Bruce, you're telling me, when I brought 20 million of you all here, I mean, over a period of from 1619 to, you're telling me that I didn't know that ultimately the Browning, as they multiply, we lessen. I have the power, but you all are continuing to multiply. But are you saying to me these words, this genocide, these ways to control population, all these things? Why am I a little afraid right now that this what I put on paper and what I continue to plan to happen and continue to do, and all of these things? Are you saying it's not working? And I'm a little afraid. I'm afraid
of what?
And that's what I want. What are you afraid of? What is it?
So,
what is your apprehension? I'm sorry, Drew. Yes, please.
This actually goes back to a biblical reference when the children of Israel were captured in Egypt. Like the more the population grew, they thought that the slave tactics, that their power struggle, the killing of the children, the reducing of the food, like the same thing they're doing here. If I can control these aspects of this slavery of control, that no matter how big the number get, I'll still have the power. And that's what's going on here. It's just a new thing. It's the same thing in a new era. If I can control, I don't care how big the number get, as long as we're still in control, we can control the masses. But the problem is they're starting to lose power. They're losing power. Bruce has brought up how the Supreme Court says, no, you have to add another district that is minority based. And even though they control, listen, you're talking about two. There would only be two, but two is too many.
Yeah.
Two is too many. That means we've lost one. And if we continue, 10 years from now, we'll lose, it'll be 3, then 5. Then we lost. They see it coming and they're trying to control. Like I say, Bruce, they're trying to control the narrative. Even if you grow, I still have control.
I don't want to complicate this more, but I will.
Of course you will.
This is what the abortion issue is about. This is what it is.
Population control.
Well, it's not necessarily population control in how we normally think of it, where you're trying to stop people from
having children.
Control them, or you want to stop them from having children. The right wing, the white wing wants to eliminate abortion because abortions are happening a lot in the white community. They're not having as many babies as they used to. And if you outlaw abortion, then you have less of this issue. It's a political game where they're using abortion and they're saying this stuff again so they can keep power. Listen, I be on y'all know I be sending stuff all the time in the group chat.
Sure.
Did y'all see the thing where Trevor Noah goes on and he says in South Africa during apartheid, he called it perfect racism because the minority did control the majority. There are more blacks in South Africa than whites, but whites controlled everything. I mean, he said it was illegal for his parents to be together. One was white, one was black. He said it was illegal for him to be born. He said it was illegal for him to be counted in anybody's household. That's how deep it got. How much they were trying to control this minority, made rules and laws so that blacks could never gain a foothold in politics and have any power. He said they studied the US. That's how they got this. So I keep saying this. It's like I say this every week. I'm gonna keep saying it. This racial game is not a game. These people are serious. They're not joking. This has been going on for centuries. This is serious business. These people are not playing.
They're having the same issue in Europe with the Muslims, because a lot of Muslims are in Europe, and now there are more Muslims being born or Arabs being born in the UK than there are natural. I don't want to say naturally born, but they're being outnumbered 10-1 with the birth rate, and they're trying to control that narrative. But the problem is, it's so many Arabs in Europe now that they can't. It's like they trying to close the gate after the horsemen got free, and that's what America is seeing. That they're seeing that take place over there, and they say, "Hey, we got to stop this now, because in a minute, it's going to be too late." And it's almost that,
So with the successes of people of color, particularly just last week, Magic Johnson was very emotional with his minority ownership of the Washington Commanders, which they're going to change that name. And he was saying that, Drew, you'll like this. He said he was just thanking God. He was wondering why God was giving him this opportunity to do this. And I was bringing that up because some things appear to be kind of happening in pockets. And the question to class was, why are you afraid of people of color? And I'm going to that because why are you afraid of people of color and their rise? My best friend Klein talks of this all the time. Are we a vengeful? We have vengeance in our hearts. Are we the type of people that because you've done this to us, we can't wait to get into power to do the same things that you did to us? So what's your issue? What's your problem? What's your problem with the success and the level that we're going to be at?
Because they've always felt, and I mean, maybe they're right about this part. It's a zero-sum game. That's how they think of it. If I have power and you take it, I don't have any power. So I can't control when I don't have power. See what I'm saying? One of us got to have power. We're not going to share power. You going to have a
Whoa. We're not going to share power.
No, and that is the reason why they keep bringing up these issues, whether it be LGBTQ or abortion, all these cultural issues. It's to separate people so that there's a line that you have to pick a side. That's what this is. It's not about bringing people together and unity, which is what you would think America should be. It's not that. It's about I have to have power, and if I have it, you can't have it. I have to control. You can't control. It's a cultural thing. Did y'all ever take any genetics classes?
No, not
Might
genes.
sound
No.
weird, but I did. I was a micro major at Howard. So white is recessive. Do you know that?
Please expound on that. Recessive.
It's a recessive gene. So whites, to keep whiteness, you have to mate with other whites. Otherwise, if you mate with brown is dominant in genetics. So you will become less white the more you deal with brown people.
So wait a minute.
It's about distinction. It's about
preservation. This is what Francis Cress Welsing was talking about years ago. This all comes back to this innate feeling of inferiority that they have because genetically they don't match up.
And if you think about it, they have been the minority on this earth since the beginning. No, but they've been the minority, but the controlling minority. But that's why Coop, and that's why Bruce, they realize that cross the interracial relationship like you said, lessens their effectiveness on procreating that dominance.
Yes.
Because and here's what I love this. I've seen this on so many occasions. Once the white mother has the black baby, and I've seen this in many, they start to lean in on their blackness, on their child's blackness. So now you've lost the child and the mother because she's going to protect her young. So now she still may be white in tone, but her heart is a little different because now her child shares the same color of the people who she's supposed to hate,
who are oppressed. She may not hate, but
I'm supposed to hate by she's not supposed to be in love because I need to kill off. I need to keep us pure and keep them under our thumb, and it's not going to happen. It can't continue to happen in this country because, like I said, what made George Floyd thing so impactful, why it became this nationwide swell, is because had it happened outside of COVID, it wouldn't have been so effective. The movement wouldn't have been this big thing. But what happened was white mothers and white children at home with nothing to do but watch TV and YouTube clips. And this thing became news. And then they got to watch the video of this man calling out for his mother as his deceased mother. And now this pricking the heartstrings of mothers, white, black, or indifferent. Now the children are starting to question moms and dads' ideologies. And now it's an uncomfortable conversation at the dinner table. Yeah. There were so many videos of white children challenging their parents' racism at the dinner table. And that probably had never been happening before. They're losing their stronghold over their own people.
Let's go into the meeting. Let's go into the meeting room when this horse got out of the barn, Drew and Bruce. I want us to come into that meeting as European power structure that came to America. Because remember, you just sent a clip, Bruce, this week, the brother that said, the guy that said, wait a minute, slavery was to be this economic, universal economic piece. Remember that? And then he said, but wait a minute, that means white people should be in slavery as well. Okay, what I'm saying, come to the meeting that says we brought 20 million here, we built America, we've made millions and millions and billions and billions. But what am I saying in this meeting? What has happened? What's going on now in the power structure meeting to harness this or to cut it? Because you already out the barn. You're in the pasture now. You're gone. What is that meeting saying?
I don't think it's that explicit where there's a meeting.
I said that.
But I think it's cultural. I don't know if it was a meeting. But I do think that it goes back to the self-preservation thing. It's not that I don't know how open and explicit it is, even in the white community. I don't know.
What you mean? Tell me that. What you saying? You don't know how open and explicit.
I mean, I don't know if it's the conversation where it's like it's a conversation. Like we got to keep power for ourselves. I don't think
I disagree with you. I believe it is. I believe it is
a conversation.
I believe it is.
I believe the rich white men.
Oh man.
I believe they having cigars and cognac, and they're sitting up there.
I could see that, but then why? So then, I think it's more psychological once you get out of the idea of rich white male. What I mean is, whiteness, like I told you, is a game. White people who are not rich continue it too. They're not in the meeting, but they get something from whiteness.
They benefit from the results.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not that it's not a meeting all over where everybody's in on it. They get something from it, and subconsciously, consciously, they help to keep it going.
Yeah, definitely.
They help to keep it going. But I don't think it's I think it's a culture. I think it's a cultural thing. I've said this before. I feel like Black people are so soulful. We don't have a meeting talking about if we get in power, we're gonna take these white folk out.
Right.
Because that's not how we roll. We would say the country is supposed to be equal. Everybody's supposed to be equal. You're supposed to get ahead on your merit, how good you are. I think we would continue to try and do that. That's why I argue for LGBTQ rights. That's why I argue for women's rights. That's what, because they're all American. We're all supposed to be equal. It's not supposed to be, America was not supposed to be based on whose religion is right. That's not what the experiment was about. You could be whatever religion, but when it came down to how you got ahead, it was about your own personal work ethic. Could be some luck in there. The kind of relationships you have. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about merit. So it's not about merit. It's never been about merit. It's really about race and how.
Was it ever about merit though? I think the idea was the theory. The theory was what you were saying, but the application of the theory was off.
I agree.
Because
but
think about it.
They did that again to keep power. It was only white males who had any power at the beginning of this country. That was done on purpose. So you can talk about a meritocracy, everybody's liberty, happiness, liberty, and all the stuff that they
Justice
said.
For all.
They didn't mean everybody. They meant white people. The white was silent though.
And I really wanted to say, and Drew agreed here, but when we talk about cigars and cognac, I don't believe that, there's this meeting and saying, hey, so you know this abortion thing, and how are you voting? Oh, you know how I'm voting. I think that there are code words, even in the meetings or at the event, that
In the
gives
media, yes.
that gives us, we understand that it's the signal. We know, okay, you're down with
There you go.
what I truly believe that it's not, oh, hey, we're meeting at the Hamptons and we're going to talk about abortion this week and brings John and all them. No, but hey, I shake your hand and it's, you good? How'd that go last week with the
Yeah.
voting? Oh, we
But
took care
listen,
of it.
I
It's
think I
Yeah.
think some of the signals are starting to be get overt now.
It is now.
Because
yeah,
I'm gonna tell
yeah,
you,
yeah.
every time, and I could be wrong, but fellas, for the last 5 years, every time I see an American flag, I think Confederate flag.
Very much so. Very much
I
so.
don't. Every time I see a house with an
Oh,
American
listen, yeah.
flag flying
Mhm.
high, I don't see. I don't. I used to see my country. I used to be proud of that thing. Now,
Mhm.
when I see the flag, I see Proud Boys. I see Trump supporters. I
I
see
see.
all of this thing,
Make
make
America
America
great
great
again.
again. I
Hmm.
see all of that when I see the American flag now, because these flags now are the new code. This is a house. This
Mhm.
is
Yeah,
we do
yeah.
this here.
That's right. That's right.
You
And
know
when I
what else?
see and here's a and when I see blacks with that flag up, I don't know what to think.
You
I,
question.
I, yeah, I question it. Absolutely, I
You
question
know
it.
who else did that? If y'all watched the 1619 project that Nicole Hannah Jones did,
Hmm.
part of the thesis is that her dad, she grew up
Yes.
in Iowa.
Oh,
Her
yes.
dad
Yeah, that's in the first pages
had
of
this
that thing.
American flag waving, and
In Iowa.
she just couldn't understand why her dad would have this flag going. She's a kid.
Yes.
She just
Yes.
she couldn't fathom it. Um, she goes through the whole thing and explains like how she got it, that she would never do that, but she understood what he was trying to do. I agree with you, Sandra. I think the imagery of the flag is becoming or has become something that the right wing has tried to take over. I will say it's the same thing when you see that thin blue line flag that the
Oh,
police
oh
use.
my gosh.
The thin blue
So
line.
You haven't
Mm,
seen that? It's an
yes,
mm-mm.
American
you ever
flag
seen that
with
flag? It's a black and white American flag with a blue line
one
in the
blue
middle.
line in the flag.
It's like the fourth white line down is blue.
Mm.
And what they're saying is because
We support the
the
cops.
cops are blue. So like
Oh
cops
boy.
stick together.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whenever
Okay.
you'll see it, you'll see it. I see it in Novi. People, waving
Yeah.
the flags or whatever
Whoa.
on their cars. You'll see it. It's the thin blue line flag, and for me, it's the same. It to me means almost like Confederacy.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
like these people, they don't understand. They don't want to understand. Uh, they are anti Black Lives Matter. Basically, that's
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
again,
So
that's where that whole thing came from. That whole all lives matter. It was all to deaden the idea of blackness. It was always
Got it. Got it.
anti-black.
I got
Always.
it. I
This is
got
so
it. That is
it's
huge.
the same game, but it's like it has a lot of branches now, and it's more nuanced. And if you're not clued in, that's the flag right there.
That's it.
yep. Yep.
Wow.
If you're not clued into it, and stuff just goes
You
over
miss
your
it.
head. You
You miss it.
never pay attention. It's just it's whatever. And that's why I keep saying we gotta pay attention. This stuff is happening and it's all around us.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
So real
everything we do.
so real quick. Went to Gillette, Wisconsin 5 years ago for the the Pathfinder Camporee. And this
Mm-hmm.
was so amazing to me. I want you guys to watch this what happened. So Bruce, you had West Indies. They're running around at before service. We would have this rally, and you would see people with their flags, and they're running around the field with their flags, chanting their country. And it would be like you see all the West Indies and the Africans
Yeah.
and the
I
Japanese
remember
and
that
all these
camper. Yes.
countries.
Yes.
And when they got to the American flag, my country's flag, I was so embarrassed to see our flag running around like being waved in glory. I was embarrassed as an American because that flag did not represent everybody.
Right. Yes.
It didn't represent me. It didn't represent my Hispanic brother sitting next to me.
Yeah.
It didn't represent the West Indian or the Cuban or the guy from India. It didn't represent us. It only represented the white people who were running and cheering USA.
Yeah.
And that's when it first hit me. Like I have this love hate thing for America, if that makes sense. Like I don't stand for the flag. I don't pledge allegiance. I don't celebrate victories when we like playing sports because I'm looking at the people who are like when we watch like soccer and basketball and these sports. I'm looking at the browning of America being accepted in sports arenas, but not on jobs, not in the streets, not being like racially profiled. It just they two don't coexist. This dream of America and the actual America are two different totally things.
Somebody talked of that. Martin Luther King talked of the two Americas. I think he had a speech on the two Americas.
And that's why he ended up dead because he started telling the truth about the two Americas.
It's more. It's even. I mean, at Howard, when the Star Spangled Banner is played, it's a thing at Howard to stand and raise your fist.
Not put your hand over your heart. And
no, it's your fist up. And there's a lot of people won't stand. You know, it's a lot of stuff like that because, you know, we're discussing these issues of America. I mean, what Sandra just said basically is what not Martin Luther King, but Muhammad Ali was saying. That was in the 60s. He didn't want to go fight for this country. I mean, it's
right,
because we're
what
not.
What has he done to me?
We're not.
I had nothing against the Viet Cong.
I mean, John Carlos. Raising their fist at the '68 Olympics. I mean, it's the
never got an apology. Never got an apology.
Same. It's the same, and it's been happening forever. Malcolm X has a whole speech on police brutality. That was the 60s. We still talking about this stuff.
The speech could be relevant today. Like he could preach that same speech could be given today, and it's relevant. It's absolutely relevant, and it's crazy.
It's not a new thing. This stuff is not new. If you watch the news and you've been paying attention, you hear Donald Trump, you hear Ron DeSantis, you hear what they're saying. This whole thing about how they're gonna now slavery has to be taught that it was. I mean, they
benefited from it. I mean, blacks benefited from it,
right? But intellectually, how do they benefit from that as slaves? Like the whole thing.
Psychologically, how did you benefit? There was no benefit.
But that's
psychologically,
So these white folk just have this. There
we go.
We've seen these things, and we act like it's new. It's not new. People been taking stances. People been dying. People been the theft and the plunder of black people has continued. It has not stopped.
Even I got a question.
Hills, and I live in Novi, and you live in Detroit, or whatever, wherever, it's all the same game.
What do you think? And when I continue to talk about, as we continue to talk about the browning of America, I'm just saying tonight, Sandra, myself, and Bruce on July 31st, 2023, the browners, the others, Drew, that are the Hispanics, even some Asians, how are they in this? The Arabs that come to America, how are they in this as it relates to us? Because I'm believing what you all have been talking about tonight. I don't care what happens as long as black people don't rise. But then what about the Latino? What about the Arab who's got the liquor store, the supermarket, he got the loan and all of that. That they now, I'm in my book, Cast, The Origins of Our Discontents with Isabel Wilkerson, she talks of that they have taken on white
The
treating
colonizers.
us as well,
Yeah,
to treat us this way as well. And you all are minorities, but you've taken on, well, how does that relate? How do we deal with that? And how are they dealing with us?
me and Bruce did a podcast a couple of years ago, and we were talking to a pastor who married a somebody from West Indies, and he said that him he had a disagreement with his in-laws because they didn't see themselves like us
as black.
as blacks because they had assimilated themselves to the colonizer. They came in this country and they saw two sides. They saw the white side and our side, and they were like, "Listen, we're going to try to mirror the white side, as much as possible, so we can assimilate to the board, so we can be a part of this machine where even we, as brown as you are, as close as you look to me, I can now look down on you because I'm now a part of them. I'm not a part of you." And he said when he heard his mother-in-law say this, it blew his mind. And he really had to tell her, like, no, at the end of the day, you are one of us. And the reason that the Arabs are more accepted because of the financial benefit
Mm-hmm,
of this
mm-hmm.
country, the financial benefit connecting to the Arab race, also with the Asian race. We're the only ones who they see no value in because we have no land that we can
Land.
connect back to. We have no
Yes, there
country
it
that we
is.
can
That's
say
it.
that is
Yes, sir.
ours, that we
Hmm.
can generate, that we can say, like, we have a whole continent that belongs to us, but we have no country of origin that we can say, if you do us wrong, there's a financial impact that will come from doing us wrong. If you do too many Arabs wrong here, you mess around and oil starts getting cut off.
I
You
mean,
know,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I think that might be part of it, but I sometimes I think we over analyze it. I don't think it's that we're not necessarily connected to a country, even though we really aren't. We don't really have that connection because that was stripped from us too. It is the fear of blackness, period. And these
Mm, mm, mm.
people who come over here, whether they're, they could be Indian,
Yeah.
Asian Indian, um, or Latino,
Hmm.
or they could be Asian. There is a term that we call the proximity to whiteness.
Uh-huh.
If you
Uh-huh.
are proximal to whiteness, you get benefits too. We hear that about light skinned blacks all the time.
Sure, sure,
Uh,
sure.
Lighter you are,
Yeah.
the better.
Pass for white.
Yes.
You
So
could pass.
it's the proximity to whiteness that is part of racism too. We talk about it in this white and black dichotomy, but there's shades there. There are dark-skinned Mexicans,
Hmm. Hmm.
there are light-skinned Mexicans.
It's correct.
Um, I'm not sure if it was Isabel Wilkerson, but I know that Nicole Hannah Jones believes, and you can see some of this happening in Florida with the Cubans and stuff.
yes,
Hmm.
the lighting
Hmm.
of the skin.
The Cubans are very much Republican in their culture and how they think. Some of that could be communism versus, you know,
Democracy.
well, it's communism or socialism
Hmm.
versus capitalism kind of thing. Um, but some of it is also a proximity to whiteness. They don't want to deal with being a minority. They want to act as if they are part of you know, the majority culture. We know they're a minority in the
The upper
country,
caste.
that is always part. That's always part of what's happening. It happens in the black community. It happens in the Indian Asian community. It happens. We talk about the model minority. We talked about the whole um, affirmative action thing, how that was brought on by an Asian person under the guise of this white dude who's trying to take affirmative action away because they're considered the model minority. They are proximal to whiteness. It's always happening. It doesn't stop. It is in everything we do. It's in everybody's culture. In some ways, we have bought into it. I think some black men have bought into the white patriarchal idea of what a man is. I mean, like you gotta be a breadwinner, you gotta control your woman, you gotta. It's all my baby boy better not be gay. All of this stuff. It's all intertwined with racism, the proximal to whiteness, how to be more like them so you have less problems.
Wow.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Well,
how do we? Okay.
A few years ago, about 8 years ago, maybe 10 now, about 10 since Sammy Sosa retired.
Maybe more.
Man, was that 20? Yeah, yes, but the press went in.
About 10, 15 years. Let's say,
yeah.
10 years ago. The next year, the next 2 years, he went kind of on a hiatus. You didn't see anything or hear anything about Sammy Sosa. Then he appeared 4 shades lighter.
Yep.
With a nose job, cheek implants, and a cleft chin.
That's a thing.
And that's a thing.
Proximity.
Where proximity. And it's a lot of Cubans, even Cuban Americans, who want to be lighter. Like in Cuba, there's a whole race war amongst bleached light-skinned Cubans and naturally dark-skinned Cubans.
Or Latino.
And it's like Bruce said, the Afro Latinos are just like, I saw videos of Afro Latinos getting beaten and treated by people who are a shade or two lighter than them.
I was in Ghana in March, y'all know.
Right.
It's in Ghana too. You would think that, that wouldn't be a thing in Ghana, but it is. This lightening of your skin, it's a thing. This proximity to whiteness has like messed with our brains. You know what I'm saying?
Watch this, Bruce.
It's deep.
They try. It's funny that we try to be close to them, and they try to be like us.
It's really
the tanning of the skin, the implants, the fuller lips.
Tell you,
it's they're.
But wait a minute. Oh man. So check. I don't want to be. I'm gassing this question. I don't want to be brown in America. Or I don't want to be brown in America. Or and you taking these people that's putting lips and butts and all that stuff. But I don't want to be black. I don't want to be brown in America, and I don't want to be black.
No.
So can I get to Sosa's complexion?
I think what it is, Coop, is again culturally. I think some white folk, not all white folk, but some white folk, culturally they have a inferiority complex where they want to be black, and I think it would be the same for white folk, black folk who want to change their skin color. I used to have this thing where I won't even say used to.
Self-hate.
But if ever I saw, and I have seen black people with blue contacts.
I have.
That's a totally
self-hate.
It really says something about you. It does to me.
I'm gonna go a step further. The blonde hair.
I don't know if I would go that far with blonde hair, because
Because there's albinos.
you
Albinos have
can change, but I'm
and
saying
an
you
Come
can
on.
albino.
color your
Yeah.
hair or whatever. I mean, you can color your eyes too, whatever.
No, what I'm saying
Listen,
is, Bruce, what I mean by when I'm talking about streaks. I'm not talking about highlights. I'm talking about bleach blonde hair on people of color. To me, when it's continue, not L for a period. I'm talking about when it's continue. When you keep your hair that color, yeah, that's the blue eye contact to me.
yeah,
Hmm.
I can see
Hmm.
why I can see that. I can see that. It's the same with black guys who say they only date white girls.
Huh.
It's it don't
Because
fly.
I think that's the approximation to whiteness.
They want their kids even to be proximal to white. It is deeply implanted. It's not something that I think that they even necessarily consciously think. I think nowadays they've gotten to this thing
Man,
where they're
oh,
where
you
they're
killing
trying.
me with that. You killing me with that. That
I'm
means
trying to
that
tell you, Coop.
you
It's
killing me. You killing me with that, and killing me not in a bad thing.
yeah,
You killing me because that means if I hit the browning of it, if I want this white girl, Caucasian girl, my children are going to be a lighter complexion, and they'll be closer. They won't. I mean, you have others but she'll be, or my child will be closer to they'll be light enough to possibly pass for white. And that's what I want. I don't want them to have the problem of being brown or
because
having a browner
and you can see how
hue.
that's a hatred of your own self. And
Yeah.
people
Bruce,
and people don't. I don't think they understand it as that. Again, I don't even know if they are consciously thinking of it as that, but that is there. That's
Not
and you
that.
know
because
what,
I
Bruce?
love her. Not because
I
I
want to
love
say
her.
this
You might
because
love her, Coop. I'm not. I mean, who am I to say who doesn't
Sure.
love who or whatever? But when I hear a black man say, "I only date white girls," when I know there are beautiful black women
Sure.
of all shades,
Hmm.
but you only date white girls, like why? Like that needs to be interrogated. That's not
That's
something
my choice. I choose that.
so I got
you
a question.
you
I have a
choose
Hmm.
them
question.
for a reason.
Cool, Bruce.
Hmm.
I have to say this. I took part of that hatred of our own people. Remember when we used to say light skinned guys are winning? Now it's brown skin. Now the brown
Yeah.
skinned guy, dark skinned guys
Hmm.
are in.
Hmm. Don't
We
say making a
perpetuate that
comeback.
whole thing
Hmm.
is a perpetuation of self hate. Like we really were talking about, like growing up. Real talk. Let's just put it on the table. Light
The
skin,
life.
green eyes,
Hmm.
long hair.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
Yeah,
She was it.
I'm guilty of that. I remember being in front of. I might have told this story before, but I was in front. This was before I went to Howard, and they were doing an AY program or something at CT, and I was being asked like, where do I see myself in 10 years or something, and I said something ignorant like, I'll be married. She'll be light skinned, long hair. I said that in front of the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said that.
Okay.
And after it was over, Mr. King came to me in the parking lot and he told me, that's probably not a good thing to say. He was the first person who like checked me on that. And then I went to Howard and then I realized how stupid I sounded.
Hmm.
Because once you go to Howard and you see what you see,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, what are you thinking?
So
Hmm.
people used to say this about Layla. Y'all know my daughter Layla.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to get this when and I started checking it. First, I would say it in a polite way. Then I started checking it like the angry father that I tend to be. Oh, she's a pretty dark skinned girl.
See, stuff like, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Either she's pretty or she's not. Her complexion has nothing to do
Nothing.
with
Right.
her attractiveness. But when you
It
say
shouldn't.
that, when you say that, you're saying that dark-skinned women, by and large, are not attractive.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you that, and this is just me, you give me the average black woman, she's still more attractive than the finest white woman to me.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this is why I think, again, once you know this stuff, once you know it, then I think it's easier for you to hear it. Does that make sense? Like once you are aware and then you hear it from somewhere else, then you have a clue as to what people are saying or what they mean or where they're coming from. But if you were never hip to it, that stuff just goes over your head, and you don't understand that they're really downing themselves or they're downing
yes,
you.
yeah, yes.
It's
Self-hate.
yes,
Self-hate. Definitely self-hate.
it's a self-hate thing or it's an anti-black thing. But unless unless you understand it and hear it when it happens,
Right.
you're just kind of lost in it. And I think that's something we should be telling our boys.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah.
How are we talking to our sons about? Here's one. This is crazy. I'm with Justin the other day, and we're laying some sod over at Miles's house, in his front yard and backyard. And this was almost a teachable moment. It was a teachable moment with he and I. And Miles's girlfriend came out of the house. Her name is Cynthia, and she came out of the house, and I was like, "Hey, Queen, what's going on?" I said, "Hey, Queen, what's going on?" Justin comes to me, and he was like, "Dude, what? I mean, Dad, what? Why are you calling her Queen? Like that is check. That is so lame." So like nobody's calling him Queen. And I said, now they should be. Now he furthered this by saying, you don't hear any girls going up to guys talking about, "Hey King, how you doing?" And I said, and they should be, because it's okay. It's okay, because he don't know that historically we were and they were queens, and it's okay. But I said this, so what y'all call them? Hey bro, hey boo, hey boo boo, hey look, all of that, where you get that from? He was like, he kind of came off of that and said, okay, I mean, I can see you calling her queen, and you should want to be called king too, not Andrew King, but king as in you're a man.
Yeah.
I know who you are. I know who you are. I know who you are. So just calling you queen it's almost that's a compliment when you're calling a woman that, and it's a compliment when she's calling you king. So that was just a real quick one of our young people they're so inundated with, they don't know. They just don't know. And when you don't know, you kind of get the pass, but once you know and you hear it, you got to do well with that. You got to do well with that.
Yo, I'm kind of glad you sprung this on us, Coop. Even though
I'm sorry for our pre-production. Yeah, I'm sorry for our pre-production
but
antics.
No, and the reason I say this is because in my continued search to be more like Christ, I see this, like you guys say it all the time, and for a moment I was falling into the trap of everything is political. But I really believe that everything beyond political is spiritual. And these are just divides that we have. Like we just talked about 9 or 10 different divisions that we have that are presented for us when it comes to the browning of America. And these divisions are keeping us from seeing some stuff that is going on, around us, that is deeper than the political and the browning and the lightning of them. I mean, it's deeper than that, but we get so caught up in these things, and I do too, because it's hard for me not to see. It's hard for me not to see when the other night I'm driving home, 4 Dearborn police officers pulling over a elderly black man. He's standing. Listen, when I say elderly, Bruce and Rodney, he has a cane. He's leaning against the car with his back on, holding himself up with a cane. But there's 4 Dearborn police officers. What could he have done that required the attention of 4 Dearborn police officers at 9 o'clock at night? So it's hard for me sometimes for me to even to get past the colorism and all this stuff. But we have to realize that there's a spiritual battle being played out. And sometimes the people who are in charge are political pawns with spiritual agenda.
If we believe that, and I'm not saying that I don't, but if we believe that everything that's political is also spiritual, I can understand. I get that comment. Only thing I want to push back on is the idea that we get caught up in like these distractions. I don't think these are distractions. I think these are real life things that happen to Black people that we have to be aware of. I don't feel like it is. I always say this. My grandmother, when we do birthday wishes, used to say, "Bruce, I wish you would be more spiritual." And I always retort with, "My politics is spiritual."
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I have the reason why I say the things I do is because of how I feel Christ treats us. And so I don't think we should.
That's deep there. I like that. That's deep.
I don't think we should, as Christians, be against LGBTQ rights. I don't, because they are people, and I don't think the God that I believe in would leave them at the side of the road or keep them from having their own dignity. I don't. We saw that in Bible times when we talk about Mary, or the lady at the well, or we talk about all kinds of those were not maybe gay issues, but those people were ostracized from their communities because of an ailment they had, or
their gender,
or how much money they made, or whatever it is.
Right.
So for me, it's always been, well, that don't seem real Christ-like for you to then tell these people that they can't, somebody can deny them service. Why? They're American, just like us.
And beyond that, they're human.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the idea that people would oppress another people based on their skin color and go through all these machinations to keep you down and oppressed and make laws and all, that doesn't seem real
Christ-like
to me.
And what I mean by distraction,
so to me, it's not a distraction. These people, Black people, Ta-Nehisi Coates says, I love the word. Black people have been stolen from for our entire existence on this continent by other people. These are not, this didn't just happen to us by no reason. There were laws. People put these things into place so that they could keep power, so they could keep you down. And then they claim to be very religious. Nah, bruh. That ain't that's not Christ-like. Not the Christ that I study. Not the God I study. That's not what that is. And so for me to call that out is not a distraction for me.
I don't believe that. That's right. Not a distraction.
I'm living my life. We're supposed to, I forget the text. I'm not into the Bible text like that. But we're supposed to be here and exist while we're here.
Okay. What did he say, Drew? What is it? What is the particular specific text? It's Matthew and probably in Mark, where he talks of you
Working
say
to
all these things. Well, no, you say all of these things, but your heart is far from me. So these are the things you're doing. All these things, legislating, uh, not allowing people over here, the immigration piece, the LBGT, whatever that is. But you also are promoting and professing to be a follower of mine. And he called them out in his own words, in red words, like,
Right.
you far from me. You
Now,
are far from me. That's the part what you said.
that's
That's
what
the
I'm
part you
saying.
said,
turn
Bruce.
away from me, you
Jesus
working
would have
for
probably, yes, what Bruce was saying, he said in 2023, in 2023, Jesus probably would have been like, bruh, nah, bruh. No,
Mhm.
sir.
And that's
No.
that wasn't a distraction for him to say that.
Yeah, nah,
That's not a
we're not doing that. Flipping the tables on. Nah, we're not doing that.
And
We're
what I
not-
mean by, and let me clear it up. It may not be a distraction to us, but this color thing, this race thing, is a distraction to a lot of people, where they get so caught up in this that they don't see beyond the veil. They don't see beyond the landscape of the color. They can only see the political. Like Bruce, that was not the first time you hear you say that your politics is based off of your belief in Christ, and I can work with that. But what I'm saying, there are people out here that are so blinded by the colorism or the race aspect or the political aspect that they don't see that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and rulers in high places. They don't see that. They just see the earthly thing that we're dealing with. And I'm saying that if you really want to get clarity on this earthly thing, because I'm gonna tell you, I didn't start seeing this until I really started digging into my word, and then I could see all of these things that were taking place politically, racially. It opened my eyes to it. Like my stance on the LGBT community has changed drastically from 10 years ago.
For
Drastically.
all of us, yes.
And I'm saying what I had to realize is, at the end of the day, would these people be the people that Jesus met at the well in the middle of the day? Would this be the man? Would these people that he would go to at the pool of Bethesda? Would
Yes,
this be the person that
yes,
he would put salve over their
that's
eyes?
right. Take up
Would
your bed and walk.
yeah?
Yes,
Would these be the people? And
Yes.
when the answer was yes,
yes.
I had to change my perception. I had to change my view on this. Like, yo, they're no better than you. They're no
Yes.
worse than you, Sandrew.
Yes.
Whoremonger.
Yes.
Whatever.
What
That's exactly my point. The only thing, and I agree with that totally, Sandru. But everybody is not like us. All of us don't have a religious, a particular religious set of ideals that we speak from. Some of us didn't grow up in the church.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean that you can't see that these white folk is acting crazy against these black folk, and that ain't right. So I mean, they can see that, they know that that's not correct, it's not moral, it's not whatever. They may not have our religiosity, Coop, to your word, but they can see that something is wrong. You might call that a distraction. I'm thinking that I'm not calling that a distraction for them either. It is a righteous indignation for oppression, and that is laudable.
Or willful blindness. Or willful blindness.
Or on the other side, willful blindness. Agree.
I don't want to see this.
Yes.
Like listen, I have to say,
cognitive dissonance. All of those.
Cognitive dissonance. I watched that George Floyd video. It took me 9 months to do it. I knew it took me 9 months because I wasn't ready for it. But when I watched it from minute one, Bruce and Rodney, I cried. the whole 9 minutes and 47 seconds. Because I was trying, because you hear all the Fox News pundits and all these people trying to give credence to why it happened or how it could have happened. But what I watched through my eyes as a black man. But beyond that, I watched through the eyes of a human watching another human being lynched. And I couldn't understand why anybody could not see what I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you said, cognitive dissonance, willful ignorance, willful blindness, or frankly, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn.
No, right. Now, you can have all those. Agreed. And I know we got to go. I just want to say this last thing. That crying thing that you did, I didn't do that for George Floyd. Maybe I was just too cognizant at that point. But I remember crying after watching When They See Us. Have y'all seen that?
Yes.
When They See Us. Netflix?
Yes.
You can see it on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's about the Central Park Five.
Yes.
Okay.
Coop, man.
Yeah.
Can you put that up, Jason? What is that? Can you put that up, Jason? What's it called? When They See Us.
When They See Us.
Okay.
It is a masterful. You got to see that. It's incredible. Is Nicole Hannah-Jones on that too? Like who did that?
I think
I forget who did that, Coop, but Ava DuVernay. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Jason. Ava DuVernay did. Go watch this. This is hard to watch.
Nothing. And it should have been this should have been something. This is something you show your class, Coop.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a movie, it's a series.
Okay. Oh, it's a series. Let me back out then. Okay. Because I was on movie.
I mean, it's only one season, but it's like
got it.
Oh my God. It is. We started watching it one night, Coop. We just started watching. It was like 8:00. We could not stop watching it.
The whole thing.
We watched the whole thing. That whole thing. Incredible.
I got it. I got it. It just I see it. I mean, it's on my screen.
Cool.
We should talk about it next week, but we gotta go.
All right. Listen. This week, I work at a school, American International Academy in Inkster, Michigan, and Inkster High School had their class reunion this weekend. And since I've been working in this district and living in Inkster, I've discovered some things that it's been going on in our country, and Inkster was the guinea pig of this. So in 2013, the state of Michigan, due to some mismanagement of the educational system in the city of Inkster, the state of Michigan found this enough that they closed down the entire city of Inkster's educational system. But not only that, they sold off the land to neighboring cities that had school districts for $1. Those school systems then put a clause in whoever bought the land from those cities and those districts could not build a school on that land. So the state closes your schools, the county sells off the land, and then we say you can't build a school on that spot. So what happens is now education is being outsourced in this city. I remember in the 50s and 60s when people were being stoned and killed for being bussed to better educational systems because they were trying to get a better education. This situation is the reverse. They tore down the educational system in the city of Inkster so that they could bus out the students and the money. So 10 years later, still no public school system in Inkster. But not only there's no public school system, there's no banks, there's one supermarket, no pharmacy, So we have an educational desert, a food desert, and a financial desert in a predominantly black community, surrounded by white communities. Let me tell you what's about to happen in the next 10 years. Inkster City will be will be absorbed by either Dearborn, Westland,
Mm,
Taylor,
mm.
or Southgate. It is a strategic plan to destroy another black community. They're not doing it with bombs this time. They found out how to strip a black community of everything that is valued. By first taking away our finances, then our education. Now there's nothing left. Get ready for the invasion, Inkster. They're coming for their land.
What up, people? Um, I say this every week. I say this every week, and I'm going to say it again this week. We talked a little bit about the Republican shenanigans in Alabama. What I didn't say was that the conspiracy actually goes a little bit deeper, in that after the Supreme Court said that the Alabama redistricting committee had to make another minority district, and Alabama refused to do it. In fact, they made another map that did not give another black district, and then they're trying to go back to the Supreme Court and all that kind of stuff. I didn't tell you that the Speaker of the House, who has like a 5-vote majority right now, Republicans in the House, called down to Alabama and told them basically not to make another district, because if they did, he would be closer to losing his majority. Now, that is a conspiracy as far as I'm concerned. You're calling to make sure that the committee who's supposed to make a map doesn't make a map, even though they were told by the Supreme Court to redo the map, so you won't lose political power. Not enough people are talking about this. This game that I keep talking about, this political game, is worth your attention. This stuff is real and it affects you. You gotta pay attention. I'm just saying.
So to close it out, you've got an Inkster situation. You've got an Alabama situation. And you've got your situation. What is your situation? What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you paying close attention to? The two words that we got from Bruce and Sandra tonight is power is trying to be continued, to reign in your district, in your city, in your schools, in your home, in your families. I posit to you that if you do not open your eyes, and I'm not talking about being woke, and open your ears and pay close attention to the small things, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost when some things begin to take place in your city, in your district, and in your state. It is your responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, who's ever watching this on whatever platform, it is your responsibility to pay closer attention. I know you may watch, but pay closer attention to what's happening. And it's not a distraction. Don't call it a distraction. Get yourself involved in, I don't mean politics, but get yourself involved in self upheaval, family upheaval, city upheaval. You will be rewarded. I'm just saying, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.